Manalangin po tayo. Dakilang Panginoon Diyos, may-ari ng sanlibutan, pinupuri namin ang iyong pangalan. Kami nagpapasalamat sa panalangin at gabay na ibinigay mo sa amin. Salamat sa panibagong araw na ipinagkaloob mo. Salamat din sa pagkakataon na ibinigay mo upang kami ay muling magtipon para sa panibagong kaalaman. Kami po ay humihiling na nawa po ay gabayan mo po kami sa aming pag-aaral at bigyan mo po kami ng makalangit na kaalaman at lakas upang kami ay matuto. At nawa po ang lahat ng aming matutunan ay magamit namin sa pagtulong sa aming kapwa. Patawarin mo po kami sa aming mga kasalanan at nawa po ang lahat ng aming gagawin ay maging alinsunod sa iyong kautusan. Ang lahat ng ito ay aming sinasamo sa ngalan ng aming Panginoong Hesus. Amen. Magandang umaga po sa lahat ng mga kadete nationwide from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, sa lahat po ng mga respectable deans, faculty and staff, mga instructors, professors, mga review lecturers, pati na po mga estudyante po natin, mga reviewees in various review centers nationwide, pati na po sa lahat ng mga registered criminologists and fingerprint fanatics. Welcome po sa Bicueno. Ang Bicueno po isang platform po ito sa YouTube na nagbibigay po ng libre, comprehensive, at the same time TOS aligned po lahat ng mga discussions natin. I'd like to welcome everyone sa bagong discussion po sa subject ng personal identification techniques. May videos po tayo about this subject in the past, pero yung mga videos po in the past are outdated and no longer aligned with the latest table of specifications. Kaya minabuti po nating maggawa po ng bagong discussion sa subject po na ito para at least po makalibrate natin with the latest table of specification. I'd like to invite everyone to share our videos and subscribe to our channel. If baguhan ka pa lang po, I'd like to make a simple request na i-share nyo po sa respective Facebook accounts nyo ang channel po natin para mas marami pong matulungan. I'd like to advertise mga kadete yung mga baguhan po, mga professor po natin, yung Bicueno review material po, isa po itong libro na nag-contain po ng 2 chapters. Unang chapter po, yung synthesize at the same time aligned with the TOS po. Synthesize review materials arranged per major area. Naka-arrange na po yan. Yung chapter 2, question and answer portion. These are collections of questions coming from the previous board examination. Marami na po ang natulungan sa libro na ito. I tell you, ito po ang pinaka-ideal, the best na book that you can have in your preparation for the board examination. And I'd like to inform also the students to please avail on the book habang maaga pa po. Do not wait for you to graduate. Do not wait for you to graduate. The right moment is now. Make an advanced reading, advanced review for the upcoming criminologist licensure examination after the graduation. So as much as possible, as early as now, avail on the Bicueno. Andyan po yung pangalan ko sa description sa video. You can chat me through Facebook. Okay? Through Facebook. Ako mismo ang magre-reply sa inyo. Ako mismo. I will take time for your message to be replied, to be given with response. So, sa mga professors naman natin, mga guest lecturers, pati na po yung mga lecturers po sa various review centers, yung PDF copy po ng subject na ito is available in a very minimal price. At the same time, pagkapos po sa oras, especially yung mga professor natin sa mga university and colleges, you can give me a personal message po. I'll give it to you for a minimal price din po. Okay, available po yung PDF at saka yung PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Without further ado, punta po tayo sa topic Bagong discussion po ito. Huwag nyo nang i-view yung nakaraang video. Napaka-corny yung discussion doon. So, dito, align na po sa TOS. At the same time, comprehensive din po yung discussion natin. Alright? Unahin po natin ang definition ng personal identification. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng personal identification? Ibig sabihin, it's just the determination of the identity or the individuality of a person, kung sino yung tao. Now, ang personal identification is also the process of linking an unknown personal object or material. Ang personal object or material na tinutukoy sa definition na ito may include those skeleton, yung bones, it could be a Latin print coming from the crime scene, or biological or body fluids like semen, sweat, kahit ano-ano, pati DNA. So, ang personal object that is unknown, i-link po siya back to the individual of known identity. So, pag may nakita ka ng bones in the crime scene, so you have to consider the bone as one of the evidence that you can consider in determining the identity of the person who owned the bones. Pag may nakakita ka ng Latin print, i-identify mo yung anong Latin print to connect it to a certain guy. It could be a suspect or it could be the victim of the crime. Ang personal identification po, mga kadete, dalawang klase lang po yan. Una po, yung tinatawag nating partial, pangalawa yung complete identification. Napaka-easy lang. Pag complete identification, ibig sabihin, absolute fixation or exact specification of individuality. Ibig sabihin, alam mo kung sino yung may-ari ng semen, for example. Kung bones siya, alam mo kung saan galing, kung sino yung may-ari ng bones. At the same time, alam mo mismo ang exact place in the community occupied by the owner of that Latin print or that bones. Okay? So, alam mo yung whereabouts that this bone is owned by Juan de la Cruz. And Juan de la Cruz is a 12-year-old male living in this street so and so. That's what we mean by complete identification. Pero sa partial identification, iba. From the word partial, it's just the ascertainment of only of some facts about the identity while others remain still unknown. Pero ang partial identification is something that could assist in the complete or total identification of a person. Let us say, for example, ang nakita mo, merely bones. And then you will have an identification that the bone is a female. O knowing that it is a female is part of what we call as the partial identification. Kasi para maging full or total identification yan, dapat alam mo kung sino yung mga-ari, kung taga saan siya, yung edad niya, so and so. Okay? Yun po ang pagkakaiba sa dalawa. Now, may iba't iba po tayong methods of personal identification. Okay? Una dito, yung tinatawag nating biometric identification. Diyan po nakapaloob yung fingerprint, mga kadete. So, ang principle dito is unique physical or behavioral attributes. Yung fingerprint natin, yung iris natin sa mata, yung facial structure natin, voice, gait. Ano ba yung gait? Manner of walking. Pati na po yung pangalawa, DNA profiling. Okay? Ang DNA po natin is unique. DNA might be located in our blood, saliva, hair, kahit saan po. Parte ng katawan po natin. At saka yung pangatlo, itong digital forensics, which include digital footprints. For example, IP address, social media activity, browser history. So sa digital forensics, ito yung sa computer. Okay? So ito po yung pinaka-major methods of identification. Now, isa-isahin po natin from biometric to digital forensics. Unahin po natin yung biometric identification. So again, ang biometric identification includes identification based on the unique physical or behavioral attributes of an individual. So this will range again from fingerprint even up to gait analysis. Isa-isahin natin mga kadete Pag fingerprint identification, this is the mostly or the widely used type of biometric method. Ito po ito po ang usually ginagamit sa buong mundo. It is based on the principle that no two persons have the same, even identical twins, have have no the same fingerprint characteristics. Okay? Pangalawa, yung iris recognition, which relies on the unique patterns found in the individual's iris. So usually, ginagamit ito in order to enter a particular facility, especially yung entrance to a classified file. Ginagamit yung iris retinal scan para maka-access. Facial recognition involves comparing a person's facial features from a digital image or video frame with a stored facial database. Common example nito, yung mga cellphone natin, di ba? Gumagamit din po yan ng facial recognition. That's also one of the biometric identifications. Number 4, yung paggamit ng voice characteristics, yung voice recognition po. At saka yung manner of walking. The style of walking of a person can also be one of the biometric identification. We call this one as gait analysis. Okay? Ito po yung mga biometric identification, mga kadete. Now, sa board examination, pati na po sa TOS, kasali po yung DNA. Unlike in the previous TOS, concentrate lang tayo sa fingerprint. Pero dito, may topics that relate on DNA. Now, tingnan natin kung ano ba itong DNA. Take note ha, DNA is an abbreviation for deoxyribonucleic acid. Huwag kalimutan. That's very basic. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Ano ba ang purpose ng DNA? Ang DNA po, isa po siyang molecule na siya po ang nagdadala ng genetic information para po sa development and functioning of a person. Okay? Pag walang DNA, the person will not function well. Okay? So, deoxyribonucleic acid, ano ba siya? It's just a molecule na nagdadala po ng genetic information for the development and functioning of an organism. Now, makikita nyo po yung DNA structure, mga kadete. Tingnan nyo po ang slide. Okay, tingnan nyo yung slide, mga kadets. Okay? Makinig po ng maigi, ha? And then, pag wala po kayong Bikuino book, mag-jot down po kayo. Tingnan nyo po yung picture. Oh. Ito, ha? DNA structure. May dalawang strands yan. Okay? Yung blue color. Dalawang strands po which resembles a twisted ladder. Ang shape po na yan, itong blue ha, is known as double helix. Kaya nga dalawa double yan yung blue. Double helix po. Now, ang dalawang strands na ito, mga kadete, that is known as the double helix also serves as the sugar phosphate backbone of the DNA. Sugar phosphate backbone po. Now, ang sugar phosphate backbone, yung double helix na yan, is connected through base pair. Pares. Ang pares po, it could be one element to the other. May apat po yan. Ang mga pares na ito consist of what we call as nitrogenous bases. Ang nitrogenous bases, apat po yan. Una, guanine. Pangalawa, cytosine. Pangatlo, thymine, at saka pang-apat yung adenine. Yung hindi nakapag-avail sa Bikuino, ha, kindly jot down notes. Pag wala po kayong libro dyan ng Bikuino, mag-jot down kayo, ha. Huwag lang kayo makinig, mag-jot down po kayo. Again, apat po yung nitrogenous bases po natin, ha. Guanine, cytosine, thymine, at saka yung adenine. Ang apat po na nitrogenous bases, arrange po sila into base pairs. Okay? Unang pares po is guanine tsaka yung cytosine. Then the second pair would be thymine at saka yung adenine. Okay? So, next is DNA profiling. What is DNA profiling? It is just a process wherein a specific DNA pattern called a profile is obtained from a person or from a sample of bodily tissue. It could be coming from the sweat of a person, it could be from the semen, kahit sa buhok ng isang tao or kahit sa flesh ng tao, you can extract a DNA. Tapos ang gagawin dyan, pag may sample, let's say semen, i-extract yung DNA from the semen. At the same time, i-analyze yung region. Pag na-extract na yung DNA, i-analyze yung specific region ng DNA structure. Okay? Ang region po ng DNA, tinatawag po yung polymorphic. On the other hand, yung differences on these regions, tinatawag siyang polymorphism. Okay? Again, ang regions po, tinatawag itong polymorphic. Ang differences on these regions of the DNA, tinatawag siyang polymorphism. Ang polymorphism can be analyzed to give a DNA profile of a certain sample. Okay? Now, ang DNA profile, ginagamit po siya sa pag-identify the probable origin of a body fluid sample associated with crime or crime scene, to reveal family relationships, kung kaanak ba or hindi, at saka yung identity of disaster victims, especially pag ang biktima ng disaster, hindi na, nawala na yung ano niya. Probably yung face niya is already deformed or decomposing. Pag hindi klaro na, yung DNA can be one of the best tools in identifying the disaster victim. Now, another thing that you have to put in mind is itong STR or short tandem repeats. Okay? So, one of the current techniques for DNA profiling, gumagamit ng polymorphism na tinatawag na short tandem repeats or STR. Now, ganito po ang short tandem repeats, ito po ay mga regions of non-coding DNA that contain repeats from the word short tandem repeats. It contains repeats of the same nucleotide sequence. For example, GA, GATA. So, GA, yun ang first pair po dyan. G stands for guanine, A stands for adenine. Okay? So, makikita nyo po, GATA, GATA. Ang GATA po is repeated 6 times. Okay? Repeated po siya 6 times. STRs are found at different places or genetic loci in a person's DNA. So, depende po kung ano ang number of repetition at ano yung sequencing ng nucleotide ng isang tao. So, how do you create a DNA profile using an STR? Ganito po. Una, kukuha ka ng sample. It could be from the blood, it could be from the flesh, semen, hair, roots, or body tissue. And then you extract the DNA from the sample. And then you copy the DNA. Often, only small amounts of DNA are available for forensic analysis. So, the STRs are at each genetic locus are copied many times using the polymerase chain reaction to get enough DNA to make a profile and then determine the size of the STR. And then, pag may match, ibig sabihin, the person whose sample was taken from him could be that guy. Okay? Or identical. Pag ang semen nakuha sa crime scene, kinuha yung DNA from that semen, tapos it was found out na ang DNA ng semen na yan is having a match to the suspect, then it is an indication that the suspect was the one who perpetuated the crime, or the person who owned the semen is somebody who was inside the crime scene when the crime was committed. Okay? So, yun lang po ang sa DNA. Okay, so we will not expound more on it. Those are the necessary topics that you can actually have in order for you to prepare yourselves for the board exam. Secondly, may tinatawag din po tayong odontology. Ito po yung science dealing with the teeth, their structure and development, and their diseases. So, pag studio sa ngipin ng isang tao, ang tawag po dyan, odontology. Pero pag ini-examine yung ngipin in a legal context, for example, may nakikita ka ng ngipin sa crime scene and you want to examine it, it's basically part of what we call as forensic odontology. Or probably, kinagat yung victim. Kinagat yung marka ng ngipin na makikita sa katawan ng victim and you want to examine the teeth of the suspect if it correlates with the marks that is found on the body's victim, part pa din po yan ng forensic odontology. So, ang pagkakaiba sa odontology at saka forensic odontology is that ang odontology is just science dealing with the structure of the teeth, the development thereof, pati na yung diseases. Pero again, pag ini-apply yung study ng ngipin in a legal context, magiging forensic odontology po siya. Okay? So, ang forensic odontology, useful po siya in the following. Una, identification of human remains from mass disasters. Like say for example, airplane crashes, natural disaster, wars, terrorist attacks. Number 2, identification of mutilated or burnt or charred, decomposed or skeletonized human remains. 3, analysis of physical injuries in cases of suspected battery. Pag kinagat yung biktima. Kasali na din po yan yung panglas, yung analysis and identification of bite marks like for sex crimes, homicides, and other types of crime. Pati na po yung sa battery. Okay? Pag ang lalaki, yung husband, kinagat niya yung asawa niya, yung wife. So yung bite marks can be part of the study on what we call as forensic odontology. Okay? So yun po, odontology and DNA. Now, we have other methods of personal identification. Una po, yung tattooing. Noong unang araw po, or even right now, probably in some of the tribes in Africa, gumagamit din po ng tattooing in order to identify somebody, especially yung rangko ng isang tao sa tribo. That could be identified by tattooing. Okay? It did not last long because it can be duplicated, changed, or disfigured. Pero again, may mga tribo pa din po tayo sa Africa ngayon that uses tattooing. Okay? Next, scarification, cutting some parts of the body to leave scars or marks. Again, this can be applied in some of the tribes in Africa. Anthropometry, ito yung pinaka-obsolete na. Nung araw, may tinatawag tayong bodily measurements. Ang anthropometry, tinatawag din po yung Bertillonage. Sino ba yung nag-initiate nito? Sino ba yung nag-establish? Si Alphonse Bertillon. Okay? Noong araw, ang pinakaunang systematic way of identification is anthropometry. Pero again, yung anthropometry napalitan po yan ng fingerprint identification. Next, we have blood samples examination, now DNA, as mentioned a while ago. Then we have forensic anthropology, which involves the identification of individuals based on the examination of skeletal or decomposed human remains. Methods often include determining the age, the sex, stature, and ethnicity from the skeleton. Forensic anthropology ang tawag po niyan. Then, of course, itong digital forensics focuses on identifying individuals based on their digital footprints. For example, yung gumagawa ng mga dummy accounts or fake accounts, pag na-trace yung IP address, then it can be identified that this is really the person who perpetuated the crime. Okay? By examining the digital footprints. Alright? Yun po ang mga preliminaries that are part of the table of specification. But most of the contents of the latest TOS still focused on fingerprint identification. So, isa-isahin natin mga kadete ang fingerprint identification from the first topic to the last. Dapat maintindihan po ito. Kasi po, outcome-based na po ang board examination natin. Now, unahin natin, ano ba ang definition ng fingerprint? Ang fingerprint is just a design or an impression or isang pattern na naproduce ng mga friction ridges of the first joint of the human finger. O nang dapat tandaan, design po siya, impression po siya, pattern po siya. Saan nagsimula yung pattern? From the first joint of the human finger. May mga joints po tayo sa fingers po natin. Ang joints po are separated by the horizontal lines, right? So pag index finger ito, so separated by horizontal line dyan, di ba? May parang kanal. An indication na ito po yung area consisting the first joint. Ang fingerprint po na tinutukoy dito is yung first joint lang na impression. Kasi pag nasa second joint yan, or sa third joint, or sa last joint, and then it could form part of what we call as palm impression. Hindi po palm ang tinutukoy dito, fingerprint po. Fingerprint is also known as the cornerstone of identification. Now, three terms that are very confusing sometimes mga kadete. Dactyloscopy, dactylography, and dactylomancy. Pag dactylomancy, ibig sabihin, you interpret the personality of a person by means of fingerprints. By taking a look at the fingerprints, you can know what is the personality of the person. Tawag niyan dactylomancy. Ang dactylography is the science or the process of taking fingerprints. Yan lang po. process of taking or the science of taking fingerprint impression. Ang tawag po niyan, dactylography. Pero huwag kalimutan, ang dactylography, sometimes this is known as fingerprint identification. Pero para hindi po tayo malito mga kadete, dactylography, taking impressions or taking fingerprint impression. Ang dactyloscopy naman, from the Greek word dactylos, which means fingers, it is basically centers on examination, identification, and comparison of fingerprints. In a simplest explanation, it refers to the science of fingerprint identification. Okay? Again pag ganito basta taking or the science of taking the fingerprint impression of a person, dactylography, from the word graphia. Graphia means to write. Okay? So, taking of fingerprints, ano yan? Dactylography. Pero tinatawag itong sometimes as fingerprint identification. Ang dactyloscopy, it involves, again, pag na-take na yung fingerprints, i-examine mo siya, i-identify mo siya, i-compare mo siya. So, pag-compare, pag-identify, pag-examine, that forms part on what we call as dactyloscopy. I hope naintindihan. Okay? Kasi marami pa pong naku-confuse dyan about the difference of these terms. Now, ito ang historical background, hindi ito importante, mga kadete. Hindi naman ito kasali sa board examination Pero baka tanungin nyo ako, sir, bakit mo isinali yung historical background pag hindi naman yan kasali sa TOS? Sinali ko ito, mga kadete, as I have told you in the other subject. Pag hindi natin alam kung ano yung historical perspective, medyo hindi solidify yung learning po natin. So, dapat alam po natin kung saan nagsimula. Okay? Pero again, I'd like to warn everybody, hindi po ito kasali sa TOS. But then again, importante po na malaman natin ang historical perspective. Okay? So, ang China po utilize ink fingerprints in different documents as contracts, acknowledgements, so on and so forth. China ang known as the first country that utilized ink fingerprints. Pero again, this is not for identification. This is just for acknowledgement. Okay? Fingerprints were also found in the pottery tablets and seals of Babylon. This was also used by Babylonians in signing their contract. Now, ito yung mga tao that are very helpful in the development of fingerprint identification. Una, Nehemiah Grew. Allow me to be fast a little. Nehemiah Grew, siya po yung unang European na nag-publish po ng friction ridges and sweat pores. Ang sweat pores, yung mga exits natin sa skin natin, he termed it as little fountains. Okay? He was an anatomist and a physiologist. Pangalawa, itong si Marcelo Malfigi. Si Malfigi, tinatawag siyang grandfather of dactyloscopy. Naging lolo siya. Sa criminology lang kasi ang may maraming father-father na yan May lolo pa nga sa fingerprint Si Lolo Marcelo Malfigi. Nakapag-discover siya ng isang layer ng skin. Tinatawag niya itong Malfigian or Malfigi layer. Pero ang maganda dito, si Malfigi po, nag-mention siya about ridges, loops, and spirals in a fingerprint. Okay? After Marcelo Malfigi, yung grandfather, ito si Johannes Evangelista Porcingi. Tinatawag siyang father of dactyloscopy, mga kadete Yung father of fingerprint, si Henry. Pero sa father of dactyloscopy siya. Okay? Zeke professor po ito ng University of Breslau. So, siya yung nag-classify ng 9 fingerprint patterns, yung plain arch, tinted arcs, loops, oblique loop. Makikita nyo po sa slide kung ano-ano yung mga patterns na pinapangalanan po niya. So, kaya tinatawag siyang father of dactyloscopy because of this contribution. Next, si G.C.A. Mayer. Si G.C.A. Mayer, siya yung German na tao na nag-prove ng principle of individuality. So, sa kanya po, he experimented and he found out na ang fingerprint po is unique from one person to the other. G.C.A. Mayer po ang nag-prove ng principle of individuality. On the other hand, sa principle of permanency, si Hermann Wilker, Ang ginawa kasi ni Herman Wilker, gumawa siya ng longitudinal study about fingerprint. 41 years, imagine mga kadete ha, 41 years of reprinting his fingerprint every day. And he found out that the first day that he printed the fingerprint and the last day on the 41st year of replicating the fingerprint, he found out that the fingerprint characteristics are the same and permanent. Kaya nag-prove siya na ang fingerprint has the so-called principle of permanency. Next, si William Herschel. Ano ba yung contribution ni William Herschel? Siya yung first European to recognize fingerprint as an individual tool of identification. So, siya din po yung nag-establish sa tinatawag nating principle of persistency. That fingerprints are formed at an early fetal life and will remain constant throughout life. Yung principle of persistency, pareho lang yan sa principle of permanency. Okay? So, yan po ang contribution ni Herschel ha. Then, ito naman si Henry Folds. Ano ba yung contribution ni Henry Folds? Siya yung unang European na nag-publish ng article. Ang tawag sa article is On Skin Furrows on the Hand. Now, he was the person who introduced a way of reproducing fingerprints through the use of, yung ginamit na noon is greasy materials pa. Hindi tulad ngayon na may fingerprint ink na po tayo. Then, another one is itong si Francis Galton. Malaki po ang contribution ni Francis Galton, mga kadete. Ang ginawa po ni Francis Galton, who is known to be the cousin of Charles Darwin, nag-develop po siya ng first classification system. Huwag kalimutan ha, ang first classification system ng fingerprint was developed by Francis Galton. Tinatawag niya itong arches, loops, and whorls. Tapos, pangalawa, he stated that the possibility of two similar fingerprints is equivalent to a ratio 1:64 billion. Ay, yung ano natin ngayon, population sa buong mundo, hindi pa tayo nakaabot ng 64 billion, mga kadete, hindi ba? So, mag-reproduce kayo para maabot tayo ng 64 billion. Sabi niya, pag nakaabot na tayo ng 64 billion na population, posible na daw na may dalawang tao that have similar fingerprint characteristics. Okay? Now, sa kanya, yung mga ridge characteristics po, tinatawag niya noon na Galton ridges. And then, later on, Galton ridges was changed into the term minutiae. Okay? So, huwag kalimutan ha, si Yoyo Francis Galton, si Uncle Francis Galton. Next is Alphonse Bertillon. O, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung Bertillonage. Sa kanya nanggaling yan. Bodily measurement po. Ang bodily measurement po, yun po ang pinakaunang systematic identification tool. Okay? So, yung Bertillonage, tinatawag noon na anthropometry in recognition of Alphonse Bertillon. Alright? Next, this person, Juan Vocetich. Okay? I don't know if this is the correct pronunciation. Okay? Sikat po siya, mga kadete. Isang tao that investigated on the murder of Aruhas children. Ang nangyari kasi nito, may mga bata na namatay. Pinatay yung mga bata. Tapos, si Juan Vocetich, naka-discover siya ng Latin print. When he examined the Latin print, he found out that the Latin print came from the Latin print was having the same features or characteristics with the fingerprint of the mother. Kaya nga, he discovered that the person who actually murdered the Roas children was no other than the mother themselves. Okay? The mother themselves. So, pinatay yung mga bata kasi itong si Mother Rojas, may relationship siya sa isang lalaki. Single parent yan may relationship siya sa isang lalaki. And sabi ng lalaki, hindrance daw yung mga anak ni Mother Rojas sa kanilang relationship, kaya yung mother, pinatay niya yung mga bata niya. Okay? So, na-discover na it was actually the mother who perpetuated the crime. Ito yung pinakauna na kaso that utilized fingerprint identification. Huwag kalimutan ha, pinakauna na kaso that utilized fingerprint identification itong Rojas murder case. Rojas children murder case. Okay? Now, another important contribution of this person is the designation of alphanumerical on the right and the left hand. Sabi ni Juan Vocetich, ang right hand will serve as the numerator and the left hand will be used as the denominator. And I tell you, yung alphanumerical designation na yan will be utilized later on in the fingerprint classification. Right hand, numerator, left hand, denominator. Next, he installed the first files of fingerprints for criminal identification. And now, ang father nyo po sa modern fingerprints, itong si Edward Richard Henry. Okay? Siya po ang ama ng modern fingerprints. Ginamit po natin and still we are using the Henry classification system which was devised by this person. Ang Henry classification system replaced the anthropometric system of Alphonse Bertillon. Okay? Yun po ha. Now, sa Pilipinas naman, unang tao dito, ito si Attorney Agustin Patricio. Siya yung nagtap sa first examination on fingerprints given by Captain Thomas Dogon of the New York Police Department. Okay? The first Filipino authority in fingerprinting, si Attorney Agustin Patricio. Pangalawa, itong si Flaviano Guerrero, ang lone Filipino member ng FBI. Siya lang yung Pinoy na member ng FBI na nagbigay ng first examination of fingerprint in the Philippines. Then, ang pinakaunang fingerprint expert sa Pilipinas employed in the Philippine Constabulary in Camp Crame, si Generoso Reyes. Ang pinakaunang eskwelahan na nag-offer ng fingerprint is the Philippine Educational Institute. Ang Philippine Educational Institute, which is a private school right now, ito na po yung tinatawag nating PCCR or the Philippine College of Criminology. Okay? Nasa Manila po yan. Alright? Now, ang fingerprint identification sa mga baguhan po nito, tatlo lang po Pero sa mga nagre-review right now, this is a chicken pancit kind of topic. Napaka-easy. Diba? Sometimes you become annoyed pag binalik-balik to. Pero at least, it's an indication na alam nyo na po. Sa mga baguhan lang po, tatlo lang po yung principle natin ng fingerprint identification. Tinatawag itong dogmatic principles. Una, yung tinatawag nating principle of permanency or constancy. Ibig sabihin that the fingerprint will remain throughout life. Anong ibig sabihin nito? The moment we are conceived in our mother's womb, the fingerprint will start to develop. And the pattern that is developed inside the womb of our mother will be the same pattern throughout life. Kahit nasa 70 years old ka na, 80 years old ka na, so long as your body is not yet entirely decomposed, yung pattern will stay the same. Okay? Pero, may exception. Ano ba ang exception nito? Ang exception is that if a person has a wound and the wound penetrates on the dermis layer of the skin. Dalawa po ang general layers natin ng skin. Epidermis, which is the outermost layer. Dermis, mga kadete, andyan na po tingnan nyo po, can you take a look on the picture? Andyan na. Epidermis, yung outer skin natin. Yung inner layer natin, yun po ang tinatawag natin dermis. If you want to lacerate or pierce your finger, and the laceration or the piercing might penetrate to the dermis layer of the skin, then the pattern will be obliterated. Okay? Ibig sabihin, maiba po siya, ma-disrupt yung pattern, yung characteristics na, ma-destroy yung pattern. Kasi po, yung wound becomes permanent. Okay? Pero pag ang wound only affects the epidermis, for example, abrasion lang, or yung burning on your skin, nasa dermis layer lang yan. The moment your friction skin will heal, the same pattern will return back. Okay? Kuha po. Again, pag ang wound nakapenetrate sa dermis, magigiba po yung pattern mo. Pero pag hindi, nasa epidermis lang yung wound, hindi lang yan, permanent pa din po yung fingerprint pattern. Okay? Kuha po mga kadete. Pangalawa is principle of individuality. Ano ibig sabihin nito? It means that there is no or there are no two persons having the same fingerprint characteristics. Even identical twins. Posible pareho kayo, whorl in the index finger. Pero hindi kayo pareho for sure in terms of ridge characteristics. Yung pattern might be the same, pero yung ridge characteristics iba po. Sabi ni Francis Galton, the probability of likeness is in the ratio 1:64 billion. Yun po ang sabi ko kanina. Pangatlo is principle of infallibility. Anong sabi dito? That fingerprint is reliable and admissible as evidence in the court of law. Okay? So, pwede po siya magamit in the court of law. Next, tatlong allied sciences of fingerprint identification. Una, ceroscopy. Anong ibig sabihin ng ceroscopy? Ito yung study of the palms. Okay? Ceroscopy, palm prints. Podoscopy, footprints. Poroscopy, pores. Andyan si Edmund Locard, yung father of poroscopy. Okay? Poroscopy, examination of the pores. Ano ba yung pores natin? Yung little fountains, yung little exit sa skin po natin. Study of the pores, of the friction ridges, tawag po niyan poroscopy. Pero study of the footprints, podoscopy. Pag palm prints, ceroscopy. Okay? Memorize nyo po ha. Cero, palm prints. Podo, footprints. Poro means pores. Okay? Now, ang fingerprint is considered to be an associative evidence. May tatlo po tayong physical evidences. Physical evidence rather. Wala pong plural term ang evidence. Physical evidence po, tatlong klase. Una, corpus delicti na tinatawag nating body of the crime. So, this would refer to the elements of the crime, right? Evidence that will prove a particular element of the crime. Ang tracing evidence, ito lumabas ito sa board examination, these are evidences that will be transferred from one object to another by means of contact. Usually, these are evidence that you take out from the crime scene. Okay? For example, in the case of rape, tapos ang suspect si Juan, tinignan nyo yung sapatos ni Juan. Sa spike ng sapatos ni Juan, makikita yung soil. And when you examine the soil, ang composition ng soil is the same composition with the soil where the dead body of Maria was deposited. So, ibig sabihin, si Juan was there at the crime scene. Ang soil could be a tracing evidence. Fibers, gunshot residue, glass can also be considered as tracing evidence. While blood, semen, saliva, and fingerprints that will link the suspect to the crime, anong tawag doon? If it will link the suspect to the crime, anong tawag doon? Associative evidence. So, ang fingerprint po is part of what we call as associative evidence. Okay? Next, can a police officer force a person to be fingerprinted? Can a police guy force the suspect to be fingerprinted? The answer is yes. If again, the arrest is legal. Pero pag hindi naman legal, ay nako, hindi ka pwede. Maging grave coercion yan. Dapat legal yung arrest. Yan po ang requirement dyan. Next, can fingerprints be forged? The answer is no. Hindi po yan ma-forge. Posibleng similar, pero hindi po ma-forge. Hindi po makopya yung ridge characteristics. Are fingerprints inherited? The answer is the general shape. Inherited po. For example, sabi ko kanina, posibleng pareho kayo ng whorl pattern or arch pattern or loops pattern. Pero, siguradong hindi kayo pareho in terms of ridge characteristics. Okay? Kasi yung ridge characteristics or yung tiny details na yan can never be inherited. Yung pattern can be inherited. Okay? Next. Yung fingerprint po natin, yung fingerprint impression, tinatawag itong real impression. Okay? Ang real impression po, ito yung impressions of the finger bulbs with the use of fingerprint ink. Okay? For short, when you put fingerprint ink on your thumb and then you roll it on a fingerprint card, yung result is basically a real impression. Ang real impression po, dalawang klase yan. rolled impression at saka yung plain impression. Pag rolled impression mga kadete, ibig sabihin, nag-rolling ka. You rolled your finger on the fingerprint card. You roll it edge to edge. The purpose of the rolled impression is to have comfortability in the examination of the range characteristics. Kasi magnify kasi yan eh. Magnified, malaki yung size, mas klaro pag rolled impression. Now, paano po ba gagawin ang rolled impression? Ito, nagsisilabasan ito in every board examination sa fingerprint. Ganito ha. Pag thumb, it should be rolled towards the body of the subject. Huwag kalimutan. Right thumb and the left thumb should be rolled towards the body of the subject. So pag ito mga kadete ha, pag ito nilagyan mo ng fingerprint ink, paglagay mo ng fingerprint ink, kukuha ka ngayon ng fingerprint card para doon mo i-roll sa fingerprint card. Ang rolling po natin from this edge, then towards the body of the subject. Towards the body of the subject. Ang index finger, patungong little finger. Index finger, patungong little finger. Ang rolling po is away from the body of the subject. Klaro yan ha. Both thumbs towards the body of the subject. Index, patungong little finger should be rolled away from the body of the subject. Yan. Lumalabas yan in every board examination. Dapat alam nyo yan. Now, yung una, yung impression na na-create mo is rolled impression kasi nagro-rolling ka eh. On the other hand, pangalawang real impression, itong plain. So, opposite siya. Kasi sa plain impression, hindi ka nagro-rolling. All you have to do is you just put directly your fingers na may fingerprinting. You put it on the fingerprint card. Ang plain impression, makikita natin yan doon sa pinakamababa ng fingerprint card. And remember, ang purpose po ng plain impression is just to serve as a check to confirm whether the rolled impression are in correct placement. Check lang po siya ha sa rolled impression. Okay? So ito po yung example, cadets. Ito po yung example. Ito yung fingerprint card. Sa taas ha, yung pinakaunang real impression dyan, ito po yung right thumb yan. Right thumb. Then right index, right middle, then right ring finger, right little finger. Sa baba po, andyan yung thumb ng left hand, left index, left middle, left ring finger, at saka left little finger. And then, andyan yung dito ha, plain impression dito. Now, follow my cursor mga kadita, follow my cursor. Ito po yung dalawang thumb in the two hands. Ito yung thumb of the right hand, then thumb of the left hand, and then the rest will follow. Ito yung mga index to little finger of the left hand, and then index to little finger of the right hand. Okay? So yun po ha. Yun po ang real impressions natin. Ang real impressions consist of rolled at saka plain impression. Next! Ano ba yung methods in recording fingerprint impression? Okay? Ano ba yung mga ginagamit natin? Tatlo lang ang methods po sa pag-record ng fingerprint. Una, ang pinaka-common is slab and roller method. Sa slab and roller method, ang ginagawa po is yung ink is placed on the slab. Usually, ang ginagamit namin sa school namin is yung jealousy or a small glass. You pour an ounce of ink, tapos kukuha ng fingerprint roller, and then you distribute the ink evenly on the surface of the glass using a fingerprint roller. Ang tawag po noon, slab and roller method. Meron din tayong tinatawag na pad method. Sa pad method, gumamit tayo ng inking pad. So, all we have to do is to place our finger on the inking pad and then roll our fingers on the fingerprint card. So, hindi na kailangang magamit ka ng fingerprint roller. All you have to do is to put directly your fingers on the inking pad. Then, yung pinakalas, itong printmatic method. Ano ang mayari sa printmatic method? Similar po siya sa slab and roller method. Pero sa slab and roller method, nilagay yung ink doon sa slab or sa glass, and then you distribute the ink in the surface of the glass using a fingerprint roller. Pero dito, ang ginawa sa printmatic method, yung ink is placed not on the glass but on the roller. Hindi sa glass, sa roller. Tapos, yung roller, you rolled it on the slab. So, yun po, to distribute it evenly. Sa slab and roller method, nilagay yung ink muna sa glass. Pero sa printmatic method, hindi. Nilagay yung ink doon sa roller. Tapos, niroll mo yung roller doon sa surface ng slab or glass. Okay? Yun po ang tatlong methods in recording fingerprints. Okay? Yun po ha. Next, we have the following concerns and remedies in these concerns. Una, pag ang fingers may fresh cut or may fresh wound or bandage, ano ang gagawin? Note on the corresponding space on the card. If it is possible, examine the ridges directly. Pero pag hindi, you have to wait until the wound is healed or the cut is healed or the bandage is removed. Pag ang hands are perspiring excessively, lumabas ito sa board exam, ano ang gagawin? Apply, wipe the fingers with cloth immediately before inking, or pangalawa, wipe with alcohol. Okay? Ang lumabas sa board examination, yung alcohol eh. Okay? Yung alcohol. Alright? Next, fingerprint equipment and instrument. Ano ba yung ginagamit natin sa pagkuha ng fingerprint? Okay? Una yung fingerprint card. Yan po, na-discuss ko na yan kanina. May mga ano po yan, may mga sections yan. So, may mga divisions din po nakalagay na dyan, sa mga divisions na dyan, kung anong finger ang dapat naka-imprint. Right thumb, right index, and at the lower portion, andyan yung plain impression. Okay? Aside from fingerprint card, may tinatawag tayong fingerprint ink. Yung fingerprint ink, yun po ang ginagamit. Ito, fingerprint roller ito, at saka itong glass is a fingerprint slab. Okay? Kindly familiarize ha. Sa board examination, may mga picture-picture yan. So, you are going to identify it. Then, fingerprint card holder na makikita nyo po. Ito ha, fingerprint card holder that is used to hold the card. Then magnifying lens so that you can easily examine the minute characteristics of the fingerprint. And then, we also have the ridge counter. Ito mga kadete, ridge counter ito. Used in counting the ridges. And of course, the fingerprint powder that is used to develop latent prints. It could be a black powder, silver powder, depende po sa klase. Then we have the fingerprint lifter. Ito yung pinaka-standard po natin, yung Searchy. Pero pag wala tayong fingerprint lifter na ganito, gagamit tayo ng transparent tape. Okay? Transparent tape po yung gagamitin po natin. Okay? Next, when fingers are very dry, ano ang gagawin? You rub your fingers with oil, cream, or lotion. Importante kasi pag insakto lang yung sweat. Kasi pag dry, too much dry naman yan, ay hindi ma-develop agad yung fingerprint. Pero pag too much wet naman, yung fingerprint mo, dapat mag-apply ka ng alcohol or you wipe it with a cloth. When the fingers are very fine, like the ridges of the fingers of a baby, especially yung mga ladies po natin, always apply very little ink. Okay? When one or more ridges or when one or more fingers are lacking or missing, ano ang remedy po natin? I-record po siya, i-note po siya on the corresponding space of the fingerprint card. For example, missing yung right thumb niya, dapat nakalagay dyan AMP, ibig sabihin amputated. Okay? Or lagay mo missing. When the fingers are burned, broken, or crippled, it can be fingerprinted in a separate card blocks. Okay? Dapat separate yung card blocks. You cut it, and then you use spatula. Since it is difficult to apply ink on these disabilities, it is advisable to use, again, spatula in inking the fingers and card holder indicating the rolled impression. When the subject has more than 10 fingers, we call that one as polydactyl. Dapat po yung extra finger shall be printed po on the other side of the fingerprint card. Meaning, sa back portion ng fingerprint card po dapat nakalagay yan. Okay? Now, to establish absolute identity mga kadete, may 5 po tayong requisites that have to be met according to the Edmond Locard. Okay? According to Edmond Locard, may 5 po tayong mga requirements na dapat ma-met para masabi natin na talagang ang fingerprint na ito is coming from this guy. Ano ba ito mga requirements? Una, clearness of the pattern, dapat klaro yan. Number 2, rarity of the type. Ano ibig sabihin? Yung uniqueness ng fingerprint type po natin. Decipherable core and delta. Ang core and delta, makikita po natin yan sa loob ng fingerprint pattern. Kaya ang advice ko, especially sa mga baguhan pa, pag maglagay po tayo ng fingerprint ink, dapat from edge to edge, from the tip to the bottom portion of the first joint of the finger. Kasi po, minsan, pag kumuha po tayo ng real impression, kahit rolled impression yan, mismong delta hindi makikita. Ang makikita lang po usually is yung core. So, dapat makikita yung core, makikita yung delta. Number 4, presence of pores, and the same time, yung number 5, perfect and clear identity of the width of the ridges and furrows. Dapat alam po yung ng fingerprint examiner na tamang-tama po yung width of the ridges and the furrows na makikita po sa impression. Now, ano ba ibig sabihin ng ridges and furrows? Ang friction skin natin, dalawa lang po yung components niyan. Yung elevated portion po ng friction skin, tinatawag siyang ridges. Pag naglagay po tayo ng fingerprint ink, pag insakto lang po yung fingerprint ink, yung ink will only spread on the elevated portion. Kaya pag nagkuha tayo ng real impression, example, roll impression yung kinuha mo, ang roll impression, makikita mo pag itim yung ginamit mo na fingerprint ink, itim din po ang makikita sa rolled impression. Yung itim, yun po ang elevated portion. Pero pag hindi insakto yung ginamit natin ng amount ng fingerprint ink, tapos ang fingerprint ink nakapenetrate sa depressed portion, yung furrows. Yun po ang canal-like or depressed portion. Pag nakapag-penetrate yung ink doon sa depressed portion or sa canal-like portion ng friction skin, ang fingerprint impression po natin, siguradong obliterated yan. Smudge yan. So, hindi ka makapag-examine. So, dapat insakto yung amount of ink na dapat pong gamitin natin. Okay? Next, ano ba ang mga ridge characteristics natin? Marami po. Sa board examination kadete pag magsisilabasan yung picture, dapat alam mo na. Pag hindi mo alam yan, i-practice mo as always. I-apply mo sa pag-study mo, sa fingerprint. Dapat alam mo, pag naka-flash yung picture, doon sa questionnaire, alam mo na kung anong ridge characteristic na yan. Okay? Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng bi? Bi means dalawa. So, bifurcation, isang branch, nag-fork into 2 branches. Ang tawag dyan, bifurcation. Pag ang isang branch, nag-fork into 3 branches, andyan yung picture, mag-screenshot kayo pag wala kayong bikuin nubok. Pag 3 branches, trifurcation. Ang ridge ending, take note, hindi po yan short ridge. Again, I'd like to correct those registered criminologists, yung mga lecturers, pati na yung mga estudyante. Ang ridge ending, hindi po yan short ridge. Ang short ridge is yung small independent ridge. Pero ito, ang ridge ending, mataas po yan, nag-run from one point, pataas man siya or pababa, and then immediately or eventually it terminates or nag-end siya. Tawag niyan, ridge ending. Okay? Next, pag ang isang ridge nag-fork into 2 tapos nag-meet at a single point forming one ridge, tawag po niyan is lake or enclosure. You can say na parang lake siya. It's like a circular or oval shape ang na-create. Ang ridge dot, that's very simple. It's just a dot. Then, pag ang dalawang ridges may nakakonect sa gitna or sa center portion, tawagin po natin yung ridge crossover or ibang term is ridge bridge. Ang spore mga kadete, similar lang po yan ng bifurcation. Isang ridge na nag-fork. Pero sa spore po, na sometimes tinatawag itong hook, yung isang branch is much smaller. That is comparable to a hook or to a fishing hook. Next, ito short ridge. Tinatawag din po itong island. Again, independent ridge na maliit lang po. It travels in a small distance and then it terminates. Ang tawag po dyan, island or short ridge. Ang incipient ridge naman, ito yung badly formed. Hindi po yan straight line. Usually curve yan eh. Itong nasa gitna yung sa gilid, hindi po yan incipient ridge. Yung sa gitna lang po, mga kadets. Take a look on the slide. Take a look on the slide po. It's a badly formed type of ridge. Usually thinner po yan. Ang tawag po niyan is incipient ridge. Pag dalawang ridges nag-cross against each other, forming an X, ano ang tawag? Ridge crossing. Pag isang ridge branch, tapos yung sa kabila, nag-fork, sa kabila din po, at the opposite side, nag-fork din, ang tawag doon, opposite bifurcation. On the other hand, pag isang branch, nag-fork siya, tapos yung isang branch, nag-fork again, forming into other branches, ang tawag po doon is double bifurcation. Okay? So yan familiarize mga kadeta. Ito yung example po na inilagay ko para mas klaro. Sharon Cuneta, Ruben Padilla, mga kadets. So, napaka-comprehensive po ng discussion natin So, dapat alam nyo na po. Ito bifurcation, you have the ridge ending. Can you take a look on the difference between ridge ending Ito, ridge ending, short ridge, may ridge ending din, bifurcation, island, so on and so forth. So, basically, ito po yung mga ridge characteristics po natin na makikita po natin sa fingerprint pattern. Ang sabi ko kanina, pwedeng inherited ang fingerprint pattern. Let us say, pareho kayong whorl pattern, pero never na magkapareho kayo ng ridge characteristics as to the positioning, as to the length, and as to the width of the ridges. Never po magkapareho kahit identical twins. Okay? Now, other ridge characteristics. Recurving ridge, mga kadets. Okay? Ito, dapat alam po natin Ano ba ang recurving ridge? It's a ridge that runs and then gradually curves and turns backwards from which it started. This is also known as sloping ridge. I'd like you to understand, ONA is a type of ridge that runs. Okay? After running, it gradually, dahan-dahan siyang nag-curve, tapos bumalik siya kung saan siya nagsimula. So, ang tawag niyan, looping ridge or recurving ridge. Now, ang basihan po para masabi nating sufficient yung recurve is the presence of the two shoulders. The left shoulder and the right shoulder. Pag hindi po present ang dalawang shoulders, tandaan po, hindi po siya recurving ridge. But rather, it is just a ridge ending. I'd like to repeat. Pag wala yung right shoulder at saka left shoulder, hindi po dapat siya tawaging recurving ridge. Ang tawag po dyan is ridge ending. Okay? So, dapat may presence ng left at saka yung right shoulder. Ano ba? Saan po ba natin makikita yung right and left shoulder? Pag left shoulder po siya, like this example, take a look po, nag-run yung ridge the first time or at the point. Nag-run yung ridge at the point where the ridge gradually turns or gradually curves. Yun po ang tinatawag nating left shoulder. Pag curve niya, left shoulder niyan, then curve. After curving the point where it returns from which it started, this is what we call as the right shoulder. I'd like to repeat. It turns, or it curves rather, it curves. The point where it curves, yan po. Ito left shoulder yan. Then, it turns back from where it started. Yung turning po, in order for the ridge to turn back from where it started, yan po ang tinatawag nating right shoulder. O ito pangalawang example, andyan yung left shoulder, andyan yung right shoulder. So pag isang shoulder lang, left shoulder lang yung makikita po natin, hindi po siya recurving ridge. Okay? Insufficient po kasi yung recurve. Magiging ridge ending po siya. Now, on the other hand, mga kadete, ang recurving ridge po can be spoiled by what we call as the appendage. Ano ba ang appendage? Ito po isang maliit na short ridge that connects 90 degrees. At makikita po ito sa between the shoulders of the recurving ridge. Una po, 90 degrees, at makikita po siya between the shoulders of the recurving ridge. So, sa first picture po na makikita natin, may recurving ridge inner, may outer na recurving ridge. May isang short ridge na nag-connect between the inner and the outer recurving ridge. Ang tawag po niyan is appendage. So, unang requisite, 90 degrees. Pangalawa, it abuts between the shoulders of the loop. So, dito po, ang inner ridge is considered to be a spoiled recurve. Pero yung sa outer, hindi lang po siya spoiled recurve. Yung sa inner lang po, ha? Yung sa inner lang. Okay? So, yung inner recurving ridge again, yung makikita nyo sa first picture, tinatawag po siyang spoiled recurve. Pag spoiled recurve, ibig sabihin, hindi siya recurving ridge. Okay? Sa second example po natin, may makikita tayong appendage. Pero, ang appendage po, dito nag-connect eh. So, unang requirement natin, dapat 90 degrees. Pangalawang requirement, dapat makikita siya in between the shoulders of the loop. So, basically, hindi po ito makikita sa between the shoulders of the loop. So, ang inner recurving ridge is not a spoiled recurve. Okay pa din po siya. It's a good recurve considering that the appendage here does not meet the requirement. Dapat ma-meet yung dalawang requirements in order for the recurving ridge to be considered as a spoiled recurve. Pero dito kasi, nag-abut siya or nag-connect siya sa side portion, hindi po sa shoulder. So, hindi po na-spoiled yung recurve po natin. Unlike sa first picture po. May other examples pa ako, mga kadete, ha? Ito, ha? Unang picture po dito, spoiled recurve po. Bakit po? Kasi nga, nasa 90 degrees siya. At the same time, it abuts in between the shoulders of the loop. Pati na po yung pangalawang picture, same pa din po. Pero yung dito po, sa ilalim, yung pangatlong picture po, good recurve po siya. Kasi nga po, although it is found in between of the shoulders of the loop, hindi naman siya 90 degrees. So, good recurve pa din yan. Ito yung mga spoiled recurve, yung nasa taas. Sa baba naman po is good recurve. On the other hand, ito po, last picture, good recurve pa din po kasi nga hindi siya matatawag na appendage kasi it does not sprout. Dapat nag-exist siya in between the shoulders of the loop. Ito, it terminates lang po on the point of recurving. So, good recurve pa din po yan. Okay? Next, converging ridge. Ano ba yung converging ridge? Ang converging ridge, ito yung ridges that run and meet at a single point forming an angle. Okay? Forming an angular formation. Okay? So, yung letter A, tinatawag itong recurving ridge. Pero yung letter B, tinatawag siyang converging ridge. Ang pagkakaiba sa dalawa, yung recurving ridge, walang angle yan. Walang angular formation. Pero yung converging ridge, may angular formation po. Okay? On the other hand, diverging ridge or diverging ridges, dalawang ridge that runs parallel. Ano ibig sabihin ng parallel? Sabay-sabay silang nagtakbo. Sabay-sabay yung pagtakbo sa dalawang ridges and then nag-separate sila in a common point. O dito po yung point of separation. Okay? Tawag po niyan diverging ridges or diverging ridge. Okay? So, yun po ang types of ridge characteristics. Alright? Second to the last, mga kadete, itong tinatawag nating type lines. Ang type lines po, lumabas ito sa board examination. Ang type lines, tinatawag siyang skeleton of the fingerprint pattern. Minsan, tinatawag din po itong boundary of the fingerprint pattern. Sa makikita nyo po sa picture, itong fingerprint ridges A and B, yon po ang mga boundaries or skeleton po natin. Yon po ang tinatawag nating type lines. Okay? Kita nyo po, A and B. Alright? A and B po, yon po ang type lines po natin. Right? Sa loob ng type lines, doon po makikita natin ang tinatawag nating pattern area. Okay? Now, how will we know that the ridges that we are trying to identify are composing as the type lines. Paano po natin malaman na ito pala yung type lines? Okay? Una po, dapat tingnan po natin, i-examine kung saan po ba makikita natin yung innermost diverging ridges. Ano ba yung diverging ridges? Sabi ko kanina, dalawang ridges na nagsabay-sabay, they run parallel, and then separate at a common point. Nag-separate sila in opposite direction. Yun po ang diverging ridge. Type lines, una, you take a look on the innermost recurving ridge. When I say innermost, yung nasa loob. Yung pinakaloob na diverging ridges, yun po, doon ka mag-start sa type lines mo. Okay? For example, in A and B, makikita nyo po, take a look on the screen, kindly follow my cursor mga kadete ha. Ang A, siya po ay running along with ridge B. Napakarami pa pong mga ridges outside A and B that are running with each other, right? Marami pa po. Pero yung pinaka-innermost, yung pinakaloob na ridges that runs parallel is yung A and B. So, yun po ang dapat i-trace natin ha, na magiging type lines. Okay? Now, may rules po tayo in the determination of the type lines. Una, sa pag-trace po natin, pag ang type line will end, dapat i-continue po natin on the outside ridge. Okay? Just like for example, this one, on the picture, kindly follow my tracing ha. Ito, mag-trace tayo. Dito tayo mag-trace. Nag-terminate siya sa letter A, point A. So, dapat outside ridge po yung continuation sa ridge B. Okay? So, yun po. So, yun po ang unang rule po natin. Pangalawa, if a type line bifurcates, yung outside branch niya po shall be taken as its continuation. For example, ito po yung mga type lines natin, B. Dito tayo mag-trace. Then, the type line bifurcates at point A. Diba? Dalawang branches yan. So, saang branch dapat ang i-continue natin? Yung outside branch po and make it as your type lines. Another example mga kadet, ito po ha. O, ito ha, type lines. TL stands for type lines. May marami, as I have stated a while ago, may marami po tayong diverging ridges dito. Pero dapat ang kunin po natin yung innermost diverging ridges. So, itong dalawang ito yung innermost diverging ridges. So, i-trace po natin. Dito tayo magsimula. Nag-terminate po siya. Continue natin outside branch. And then it terminates again. Then continue with the outside branch. On the other side, nag-terminate again. Then continue with the outside branch. Yung nakaitim po, heavily painted po, yun po ang magiging skeleton natin or boundary or yung tinatawag nating type lines. Okay? So, napaka-easy lang po. Next! Again, sa loob ng type lines, makikita natin ang pattern area. Ang pattern area, dyan po natin makikita, nakapaloob po niyan, yung tinatawag nating core at saka delta. Okay? So, ang pattern area again is surrounded by the type lines. Makikita natin dyan ang core at delta. Dyan po tayo mag-ridge tracing at saka yung mag-ridge counting. Pero yung ridge counting and ridge tracing, ilagay na po natin yan sa next episode. Alright? So, let us catch a fresh air muna mga kadete. Let us relax for a moment. Continue tayo sa episode 2 ha, sa fingerprint identification. Medyo matagal-tagal pa po yung discussion natin sa fingerprint identification. Sa second episode, discuss natin ang fingerprint focal points, yung core and delta, at the same time yung rules sa pag-identify ng focal points, pati na po yung different fingerprint patterns. Maraming salamat mga kadete sa pagtagkilig ng Bitcoin. I hope I was able to help you in your venture for the board examination. At the same time, yung mga kadete who are under this subject, I hope I was able to give an unequivocal discussion with regards to the preliminary topics. Maraming salamat and God bless everyone.